Welcome to the Rummage Report from May 10th, 2026. Today's topic is Mass Layoffs Hit Iranian Businesses Amid War. Jordan Progress kicks us off today.
Hey guys, I just read about the mass layoffs hitting Iranian businesses due to the ongoing war, and it's pretty devastating. Since the military strike started in February, up to 2 million Iranians have lost their jobs. That's over 2% of their entire population. Think about that. Small businesses like the shoe manufacturers in Tehran who've been around for decades are getting crushed. And it doesn't stop there. Gas prices here in the U.S. have skyrocketed past $4.50 a gallon, which hits working families hard, especially in rural areas where public transport options are slim. This isn't just a distant issue, it's affecting our economy too. Experts are downgrading growth estimates because of these energy disruptions, which means fewer job opportunities and higher costs for all of us. The Iranian government is trying to help with some loan schemes, but charging 35% interest is practically a death sentence for many small businesses. We need sustainable solutions, not band-aids.
Jordan, you're spot on about the impact of these layoffs in Iran and how it ripples through our economy. It's not just a humanitarian crisis, it's a potential economic disaster. When you mention gas prices skyrocketing, remember that these prices are also tied to global supply chains. If Iranian oil production is crippled, we might see even more volatility in energy markets. This could lead to higher costs for heating and transportation, hitting families hard, especially in rural areas where they depend on their cars. Also, the 35% interest on loans is a trap for small businesses trying to survive. That kind of burden doesn't just hurt those businesses, it means fewer jobs and less economic activity in the community, which can lead to more poverty and instability. This is a critical moment where the U.S. might need to consider not just military action, but also how we can help stabilize the situation economically for the sake of our own citizens as well.
Jordan, you're right about the devastating impact on Iranian businesses and the ripple effects here at home. But let's not forget the long-term implications of this conflict. The Trump administration's military actions are designed to secure our interests, but they also risk creating more instability, which could lead to even higher energy prices. If Iran's oil production continues to falter, we could see not just higher gas prices, but also increased heating costs for families next winter. Plus, small businesses here will feel the pinch if supply chains get disrupted further. We need to think about how this all connects to our everyday lives. People are already wrestling with tight budgets, and this could make it much worse.
Casey, you're absolutely right about the long-term implications of this conflict and how it could lead to even higher energy prices. But let's think about the people behind these numbers. Those 2 million job losses in Iran represent real families struggling to put food on the table. For example, a single mother in Tehran who used to work in a retail shop now has no income, and she's facing not just economic hardship, but also the stress of caring for her children without support. We need to consider how these conflicts lead to humanitarian crises that ultimately affect us, like increased immigration pressures. This is about human lives, not just geopolitical strategy.
Jordan, you really highlighted the personal toll of these layoffs, and that's crucial. But let's also consider the ripple effects on the U.S. job market. If small businesses here are facing higher costs due to energy price spikes and disrupted supply chains, they might start laying off workers too. These aren't just numbers. They represent the barista in Ohio or the mechanic in Texas who could lose their jobs because of what's happening overseas. Additionally, many of the Iranian workers losing their jobs are in sectors that export goods, which means less product availability globally. This could lead to shortages or higher prices for everyday items, whether it's clothing or electronics, impacting American consumers directly. So while we're discussing the humanitarian crisis, we also need to keep our eye on how this could come back to bite us here at home in terms of job security and cost of living.
Jordan, you've brought up an important human element that often gets lost in discussions about geopolitics. We should also think about how these events might affect the Iranian diaspora here in the U.S. Many of them have relatives back home who are directly impacted by these layoffs and the economic collapse. This creates a ripple effect of emotional and financial stress that can lead to increased mental health issues and strain on community resources. The U.S. should consider how we can support these communities, not just through policy, but also through social programs that address the immediate needs of families affected by this crisis, like mental health support and job training for those trying to help their families from afar.
The conversation. The discussion centered on the mass layoffs in Iran due to the ongoing war and the resulting economic ripple effects in the U.S. Jordan Progress emphasized the humanitarian crisis caused by 2 million job losses in Iran, which he argued affects families and could lead to increased immigration pressures. Sam Balance agreed, noting the interconnectedness of global supply chains and how disruptions could lead to further job losses in the U.S. Casey Liberty acknowledged the personal impact, but cautioned that military actions could create long-term instability, worsening economic conditions for American families. The main disagreement arose over the balance between humanitarian concerns and the necessity of military action, with Casey suggesting that the latter could exacerbate the crisis, while Jordan focused on the immediate human cost. Worth thinking about. 1. How should the U.S. balance its military interests with humanitarian concerns in foreign conflicts, especially when the repercussions can be felt domestically? 2. If we know that military actions could lead to higher energy prices and job losses at home, should we prioritize economic stability over intervention, or is the moral imperative to assist those suffering abroad more important? 3. Given the potential mental health impacts on diaspora communities affected by international crises, what specific policies should be implemented to support these populations in the U.S.? If you asked me, and remember I'm a raccoon, I'd say it's tough to chew on global politics when you're just trying to find a snack.